Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Jeffrey Epstein Show. I'm your host, Bobbycapucci, and this is a morning update. Later on today, I'm going to begin a series where we do a deep dive into Jeffrey Epstein's inner circle, meaning his four capos, the four women who enabled his behavior and also, in some cases, took part in his behavior. And now those women are Sarah Kellen Vickers, Adriana Ross, Leslie Groff, and Nadia Marcinkova. So today is going to be the first episode in that series, and it's going to be an overview episode where we take a look at who they were, what they were involved in with Jeffrey Epstein, why we're talking about them now, etc., etc. Originally, I was just going to do a one-off about Sarah Kellen Vickers today and then just move on with things. But I decided that I think it's important that we talk about all four of these ladies, and important enough that each of them gets their own episode. So today, later on today, will be the overview episode. That'll be part one of the series, and then we'll have four more parts of it, which each episode talking about one of those women that I just named. So today will be the overview episode, and then tomorrow we'll start getting into the actual profiling. So again, I thought that this was worthy of being in series form as opposed to just doing one-offs. I think it'll keep it more orderly, and it'll help the people who have just started listening to the podcast or who have just gotten involved in the case, who have stumbled upon the podcast, and it'll give people an idea of who these women are when we talk about them, because it's a very important part of the story, and it's a part of the story that's being ignored. There is a lot more here, and these women have the keys to the kingdom. And as I've said before, Prince Andrew is one of the golden fruits. He's one of the type of, the top kind of person you'd want to wrap up in a case like this, right? He has a lot of information. But him and Ghislaine are both going to be tough nuts to crack because they're being protected. So what you have to do, like I talked about on the previous podcast, is build the case around them and then go after them. So I think it's crucial that we know who the four capos, as I like to call them, were and are, and what their roles were in this whole entire ordeal. And the fact that they were granted immunity along with Jeffrey Epstein is never going to sit well with me. Never, ever going to sit well with me. It's an utter travesty of justice. It's one of the biggest black eyes that the Justice Department has ever had, and that's saying a lot considering their sordid history. But there is zero chance that we're going to let this lie. There is zero chance that we're not going to ring these bells, and there is zero chance that these ladies are not going to be put on blast on the Jeffrey Epstein show. You folks asked for it, and of course, I am going to deliver. But first, this morning, we're going to talk about Prince Andrew some more, and the fact that, according to Laura Goldman, he is still in contact with Ghislaine Maxwell, and it was Ghislaine Maxwell that convinced the Prince of Lies, the Prince of Punk Asses, not to speak to authorities. Well, this article is in The Sun, and it was written by Sarah White. The headline: all for nothing. Prince Andrew now convinced it would do no good to talk to the FBI, thanks to Epstein's pimp, Ghislaine Maxwell. God, I hate that word, pimp. So, again, she was not his pimp, okay? She was involved in this. She was the brains behind the operation. Jeffrey Epstein was just the vehicle that she used to get to where she was going. Ghislaine Maxwell she's so much more deeply involved with Jeffrey Epstein than anybody else. And again, it's another part of their relationship that nobody's really discussing. The fact that Jeffrey Epstein wasn't as smart as people said he was. The fact that Jeffrey Epstein wasn't really the one who was making all of the calls, according to tons of sources. All right? So, look, Ghislaine Maxwell is just as guilty, in my opinion, as Jeffrey Epstein. Prince Andrew has been convinced not to talk to the FBI about his pedophile pal Jeffrey Epstein on the grounds that it would do no good by Epstein's missing pimp, Ghislaine Maxwell and her lawyer. Ghislaine says she's beside herself over what the Epstein scandal has done to the Duke of York and the royal family. She's besides herself by what the scandal has done to the Duke and the royal family? How about the fact that the rest of the world is besides themselves over what you did to Virginia Roberts and the rest of those girls, over what you did to Maria Farmer? The audacity of this woman is just, it's so outrageous. She is so ridiculous with the way she conducts herself and the way she thinks about the world. She has this view of the world where she is the most important part in it. And it's absolutely mind-boggling to me that this lady is still able to skulk around, still able to talk to her buddy Laura Goldman, still able to talk to Prince Andrew, and Berman isn't all over it. The SDNY isn't tracing those calls. The SDNY isn't, they don't have people following her, whatever it may be. And she's revealed to a friend while in hiding that her and the Queen's favorite son had a laugh at Donald Trump agreeing to what he calls his Justice Department quizzing Prince Andrew, suggesting that the senior royal and alleged madam have remained in touch despite the ongoing furor. So they had a laugh that Donald Trump's Justice Department was going to quiz Prince Andrew. I don't even know what that means. Who's even suggesting that the Justice Department wants to quiz Prince Andrew right now? I mean, do we even know that they want to quiz him? I mean, we know that Berman wants to talk to him, but the Justice Department? I'm sure that Barr is way too busy watching videos of the night of Epstein's supposed suicide to be involved in Prince Andrew. I mean, come on. Barr is a very, 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 very busy guy, obviously, folks. I mean, so busy that he can't come forward and, show us the tapes. Her comments are likely to heap further torment on the billionaire financier's victims. The billionaire financier's victims, huh? How about the pedophile financier's survivors, including Virginia Roberts, who says Prince Andrew is as guilty as sin? Not only does Virginia Roberts say Prince Andrew is guilty as sin, the evidence points to Prince Andrew being guilty as sin, okay? I don't care what his crisis management team says. I don't care what the spin is. I don't care about his PR guy making the rounds. I don't care about any of that, okay? Because the evidence and the corroborating witnesses and the statements made by other people in regards to this case all prove one thing, okay? That Prince Andrew, a.k.a. the Prince of Punkasses, a.k.a. the Prince of Lies, is an absolute and utter dishonorable buffoon. Ghislaine's family friend Laura Goldman told Sun Online, Ghislaine told me that yes, the lawyers in Ghislaine have finally convinced Andrew that it would do no good for him to talk to the FBI. You know, folks, I'm starting to question if this Laura Goldman is even in contact with Ghislaine Maxwell. I'm wondering if maybe she's just getting a gas out of trolling everybody here and making things up as she goes along. Do we have any proof that she is actually in contact with Ghislaine Maxwell besides her word? I'm hesitant to believe what she has to say at this point. She says that Andrew is very honorable. He wanted to talk to them because he had nothing to hide. But it was Ghislaine who persuaded him that it didn't matter. The FBI will never be satisfied. Nothing happened. However, the FBI doesn't want to hear that. Again, I don't know if I believe this Laura Goldman. We're going to talk about it because it has to do with Ghislaine Maxwell and there's zero news about her ever. So we're going to have to, we'll talk about it. But personally, I'm taking everything that Laura Goldman says with a grain of salt. We have zero proof that she's still talking with Ghislaine Maxwell. We have zero proof that Ghislaine has told her any of these things besides Laura Goldman's word. And she could easily be saying all of this for attention, or she could be saying this because she's just one of those people that likes to make up stories. I don't know. I honestly don't know. Or it could be true, right? It could be true as well. But I'm questioning it a bit because I really don't. Ghislaine is good, just calling her up on the phone, and she's talking on the phone with her, and she's telling her all this stuff about Prince Andrew. Do they have a secure line that they're in contact with? Do they have a line that can't be traced or bugged or Because if people are seriously searching for Ghislaine Maxwell and they know that she's in contact with Laura Goldman because of Laura Goldman's fat yap, don't you think that people would be going after Goldman's communications, trying to hack it, et cetera, if they're really looking for Ghislaine Maxwell? Does that sound like a move that the shrewd Ghislaine Maxwell would be involved in, letting her, outing where she was hiding at? It doesn't seem like her MO to me. So again, I'm on the fence if I believe Goldman or not, but I'm leaning towards she's kind of BSing. Laura told how Ghislaine, who's now been in hiding for 7 months, says the FBI are destroying a good man in Prince Andrew. A good man in Prince Andrew. There's nothing good about Prince Andrew, okay? From everything that we've seen, from everything that we've heard, he is an absolute and utter scumball. He thinks that he's going to be able to hide behind these lawyers. He thinks he's going to be able to hide behind this PR team. He thinks he's going to be able to dip his toe back into royal life. He is mistaken. But it was Ghislaine who persuaded him that it didn't matter. The FBI will never be satisfied. Nothing happened. However, the FBI doesn't want to hear that. So, nothing happened, huh? Ghislaine Maxwell is just squeaky clean in all of this. She had no idea what Epstein was up to, just like the rest of them. Ghislaine Maxwell was just, she was just a pedestrian along for the ride, folks. She wasn't involved. She had nothing to do with it. She was not an asset for intelligence. She wasn't running a blackmail operation with Jeffrey Epstein. She was just a wholesome gal who cared about the planet and wanted to save the sea. What a joke. Laura Goldman told how Ghislaine, who has now been in hiding for 7 months, says the FBI are destroying a good man in Prince Andrew. She continued, the FBI has no case, but Ghislaine says that they won't admit it. Oh, well, Ghislaine said so, so it must be true. Ghislaine said, Ghislaine said, Ghislaine said. Guess what? Nobody cares what Ghislaine says, okay? All we want is for her to come forward and speak to authorities. She won't, because if anyone has anything to hide, like I said earlier, it is Ghislaine Maxwell. She holds the keys to the kingdom. She has all the secrets. She knows where all the bodies are buried. She knows who was involved. She knows who got money. She knows who was on the island. She knows who was at Zorro Ranch. She knows it all. The FBI knows it, and all of us know it. The question is, why is she still skulking about, speaking through her mouthpiece, Laura Goldman? So instead, they're destroying a good man. She said that she's beside herself over what this has done to Andrew and his family. Oh, you're beside yourself, huh? You're beside yourself? You should have thought of that before you got involved in trafficking young women. You should have thought of that before you and your disgusting friend Jeffrey Epstein hopped on that plane and brought Virginia Roberts like she was just, a piece of, something to be used by somebody else over to Prince Andrew. A human being, a young girl. You brought her over, trafficked her to Prince Andrew to be used as an inanimate object almost, like she doesn't matter, like she didn't have dreams and things that she wanted to accomplish in her life and a whole life ahead of her. But you're talking about Andrew being a good man, Andrew being destroyed? How about what's happened to Virginia Roberts? How about what is still happening to Virginia Roberts on a daily basis when you assholes come out with stupid stories like this and try and act like Prince Andrew is an innocent man or that Ghislaine Maxwell's an innocent woman? How dare you? How dare you, Laura Goldman? She said that the attempt to question Prince Andrew was a publicity ploy and reeks of desperation. Her comments come after Epstein's former victim, survivor, Virginia Roberts, says Prince Andrew is as guilty as sin after he shut the door on U.S. prosecutors probing the crimes of Jeffrey Epstein. Virginia alleges that she was forced to sleep with the dude 3 times, claims which the royal has always strongly denied. But Ghislaine Maxwell showed that she still has what her old pal calls her famous sense of humor, as she told Laura how she'd had a laugh with Andrew at U.S. President Donald Trump for calling the U.S. Justice Department his as if he owned it personally. That's stupid. I'm not, whatever. That's what presidents say. Oh, my Justice Department, this Justice Department. Same thing Obama said. I don't even know what that means, honestly. What you should be laughing at is the fact that you really think that your friend is going to be able to come back into public life. That's what you should be laughing at, because that's the biggest joke of them all. Your friend is not coming back into public life, Laura Goldman, okay? She's not coming back in. She's not welcome into public life. She's not welcome back. She's not welcome anywhere besides prison at this point. I'm blown away, folks. I'm almost speechless right now with this stupid-ass article. And again, I take it with a grain of salt. I'm not really sure if I believe Laura Goldman is still in contact with Ghislaine Maxwell. I think that she might be trying to stir the shit. She might be trying to just troll a little bit. But if she is in touch with Ghislaine Maxwell still, if this is all real and she's truly in touch with Ghislaine Maxwell, what needs to occur is her phones need to be tapped, Laura Goldman needs to be followed, and that's the way you find Ghislaine Maxwell. There you go, son. You keep talking about how you want to find Ghislaine Maxwell and you're offering $10,000, etc., etc. Why don't you have your reporters camped out in front of Laura Goldman's house? Why don't you have your reporters hanging out in front of Laura Goldman's house, waiting for her to come out, or, hire a private investigator, or whatever it may be, and find Ghislaine Maxwell? I think the reason that hasn't occurred is because this Laura Goldman really isn't in contact with Ghislaine Maxwell. I think she's BSing, folks. That's my gut feeling on the matter. I don't have any evidence to prove that, obviously. That's just my gut feeling on the matter. So that's where we'll leave it for today. And, look, again, take it with a grain of salt. She might be in contact with Ghislaine Maxwell. My gut says no. If you'd like to contact me, you can do that at bobbycapucci@protonmail.com. That's BOBBYCAPUCCI@protonmail.com. You can also find me on Twitter at BOBBY_CAPUCCI. If you enjoy the podcast and you would like to help out, you can click on the GoFundMe link inside of that description box. All right, folks, so I'll be back later on this afternoon, and we'll start our series diving in to Jeffrey Epstein's capos. I hope you all have an amazing morning, and I will talk to you later on.